Monster Lab.
Feel the bass, feel the breath, energy rising, mind awake.
DJ beats hit your soul.
Devotion take control, emotion let it flow. High energy, no limits, I trance, feel the minute.
Move your mind, move your body. Monster Lab. Music evolved. The Monster Lab.
Let's start with a number that's, frankly, almost hard to wrap your head around. Over 10 billion rupees, globally.
Yeah.
That is the staggering figure that KGF Chapter 2 pulled in, turning a Kannada film into the fourth highest-grossing Indian film of all time. I mean, if you want a lesson in risk and perseverance, this is it.
It really is an unprecedented success story. But for anyone who's been tracking the industry, the real story isn't just the box office numbers. It's the journey of the man at the very center of it all.
Exactly.
So for today's deep dive, we're going past the Rocky Bai persona to really map out the specific and sometimes, agonizing professional path of the actor and now producer, Yash.
That's our mission. We're going to trace how Naveen Kumar Gowda, that's his birth name, went from this very grounded, working-class background to becoming one of the highest-paid, most influential actors in the country.
And we're looking for those key moments, those pivots, those strategic decisions that didn't just fuel his rise, but actually redefined him as the poster boy of Kannada cinema on a national stage.
Right. It feels like he didn't just follow trends, he bent them to his will.
He absolutely did. It's a study in resilience, building that local stardom, risking it all on a total image reinvention, and then, with KGF, launching a pan-Indian brand that, frankly, nobody saw coming from sandalwood.
Okay, let's get into it. We have to start the very beginning of this incredible journey from a theater worker earning, basically pocket change, to a global superstar. So the story starts with Naveen Kumar Gowda, born January 8th, 1986 in Karnataka. And to really get the fire that drives him, you have to understand where he comes from.
You really do. His background is the definition of grounded. I mean, his father, Arun Kumar, was a bus driver for the State Transport Corporation.
A very solid working-class job.
Exactly. His mother was a homemaker, and so for them, the dream for their son was very practical, a secure government job.
But he had already been bitten by the acting bug. He was in theater and dance all through school, and he even had this other name, Yashwanth, which his mother's family gave him. He later shortened that to just Yash.
And that dream, his passion for acting, it clashed hard with his parents' very practical hopes for him.
Which leads us to this almost unbelievable moment in his life, the aha moment.
It really is. In 2003, he's 16 years old.
Yeah.
16. And he finally convinces his parents to let him go to Bangalore to try and become an assistant director. But they gave him this intense ultimatum.
Yeah, I saw that. It was basically, if you fail, you can't come home.
Total severance. A complete break. Imagine the stakes.
So he goes to Bangalore, and the film project he was supposed to work on gets canceled after just 2 days.
2 days.
That must have been just soul-crushing. Most kids would have turned right around, gone home, and taken that government job.
But he didn't. And that's maybe the first real insight into his character, this profound tolerance for risk. He's 16, he's alone, and he has only 300 rupees on him.
Which, for perspective, was less than $15 US back then. I mean, that's not survival money.
No, not at all. And the fact that he chose to stay and fight rather than retreat, that says everything.
So what does he do? He goes right to the bottom rung of the ladder. He joins the Banaka drama troupe, which was a pretty prestigious group.
Yeah, founded by B.V. Karanth. But he wasn't an actor. He wasn't even like an understudy. He was a backstage worker.
Earning 50 rupees a day.
50 rupees. That dedication, the willingness to do whatever it takes just to be close to the craft, that's where he built the discipline that you see later in his career. By 2004, he finally got a chance as a backup actor, and then he landed his first lead role in a play.
And as soon as he had that tiny bit of stability, what does he do? He brings his parents to live with him in Bangalore.
Right. He made good on that promise. He showed them he could provide. That's a powerful foundation.
So that intense grind on the stage, that becomes his ticket to the screen. And it's really fascinating how he used regional TV to break into sandalwood, into Kannada cinema.
Oh, the television years were so critical. He debuted in 2004, and then in 2005, he stars in a teleserial called Nanda Gokula.
And this is where he meets Ratika Pandit.
His future wife, exactly. It just shows you the value of, putting in the work on that regional circuit. His film debut was a supporting role in 2007, but just a year later, he has his big breakthrough.
With Gina Manasu.
Right. And He wins the Filmfare Award for Best Supporting Actor for it.
And that whole thing was almost pure luck. The director cast him at the last minute because the original actor broke his leg or something.
Yeah, but the director only knew who to call because he'd seen Yash's work ethic in all these different TV serials. So you can see that stage discipline directly paying off.
But then, of course, reality hits. His first movie in a leading role, Rocky, in 2008.
It was a commercial and critical failure, a total flop. And that kind of immediate rejection can just completely derail a young actor's career.
It's that classic reminder that stardom is never, ever a straight line. But he didn't retreat. He started making these really smart, strategic moves.
His first solo hit finally comes in 2010, a rom-com. But he knew, I think, that he needed a major image change to really dominate the regional market.
And this is where his intelligence really comes into play. A lot of his early roles were these, village-centric stories.
Right, very traditional archetypes. So in 2013, he pivots hard. He does this college romance called Googly. He consciously decided to move away from those roles and adopt this, quote, young and charming look.
Let's just pause on that for a second. That's not just a style change. That's a demographic play.
Exactly.
He was targeting the growing urban youth audience that maybe felt ignored by the more rural-focused films.
Precisely. It was such a savvy move. And it worked. Googly was one of the highest-grossing films of the year, and it cemented him as this modern, bankable star.
And that period, from like 2013 to 2016, that's when he builds his mass hero status, hit after hit, Rajahooli, and then the huge one, Mr. and Mrs. Ramachari.
Which finally won him the Filmfare for Best Actor. After a decade of grinding, he'd completely mastered his home market.
And then came the absolute game changer. This is the moment where the story just explodes from regional success to a global phenomena. I mean, the KGF franchise didn't just break records.
No, it fundamentally changed the entire landscape. It changed how South Indian actors were perceived across the whole country.
But let's talk about the initial risk. KGF Chapter 1 in 2018 was the most expensive Kannada film ever made at that point.
A massive budget, 80 crore rupees. That is a huge bet for an industry that, historically, really struggled to get traction outside of its home state.
So they had a strategy for that, right? They wanted to create a pan-Indian film. For our listeners who might not be deep in Indian cinema, can you just break down what that term actually means in this context?
Sure. I mean, it's about transcending India's huge linguistic and cultural barriers. You have all these massive, distinct film markets, Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, and so on. A pan-Indian film is one that can succeed in all of them at once.
And that was a giant hurdle for a film coming out of the Kannada industry.
A huge hurdle. So their distribution was key. They released the film in Canada, but crucially, they also released 4 meticulously dubbed versions in Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, and Malayalam. It wasn't an afterthought. It was the entire business model.
And the result was just explosive. Chapter 1 gave him nationwide recognition, and then Chapter 2 in 2022 just cemented him as a global star.
Over 10 billion rupees. 4th highest grossing Indian film ever.
It's amazing.
And this is where the narrative is so interesting. You have this 15-year history of grinding, 50 rupees a day, TV roles, regional hits. But to the North Indian media, to the global audience, his success looked overnight.
Right. It's the ultimate payoff for that long, patient game. He became instantly synonymous with his character, Rocky. It's no surprise he's now one of the very few South Indian actors who can command a massive North Indian audience.
And that nickname, Rocking Star Yash, that wasn't some marketing invention. It came from his fans organically. It was a nod to his rugged persona or just the string of huge hits he kept delivering.
The proof was him landing on the cover of Forbes India in 2019, the first Kannada actor to ever do that.
And with that kind of national fame comes, real influence. It's really interesting to see how he's used it, starting with his personal life, which is still so connected to his early days.
Yeah, his marriage to Radhika Pandit is such a great story. They met way back in 2005 on that TV show. They kept their relationship private for years while they were becoming these huge co-stars.
They finally got married in 2016, and the wedding itself was a statement. They had 2 receptions, one private for family and friends,
and one massive one, just for the fans, at the Bangalore Palace. That's a direct acknowledgement of the community that built his career in the first place. They have 2 kids now.
And beyond his family, he immediately started translating that success into social welfare. In 2017, he and Radhika started a nonprofit, the Yash Foundation.
And it's very targeted. Their first mission was tackling the water crisis in his home state. They invested a huge amount, 40 million rupees, to restore lakes and provide clean drinking water to 40 different villages.
That's not just writing a check, that's hands-on infrastructure level work.
Exactly. And he also gave back to the film industry that raised him. In 2021, during the pandemic, he donated 5,000 rupees each to 3,000 different workers in the Kannada film fraternity.
Showing that loyalty. Professionally, he's now the highest paid actor in the industry. But the really strategic move is his expansion beyond just acting.
Right, the lifestyle brand Villain that he co-founded. Perfumes, clothing.
It's a classic move,
Yeah.
turning that star power into a real business. He and his wife are also joint brand ambassadors for a major company. And he's sort of dipped his toes into political campaigning, though he says he's only open to entering politics himself if the right situation comes along.
But for us, the most significant thing is his upcoming slate of films. It signals a huge shift towards creative control. He's co-writing and producing his next film, Toxic.
He's not just an actor for hire anymore. He's crafting the whole narrative.
And then there's the massive one, the Hindi film, Ramayana. He's co-producing it. And he's playing the role of Ravana in both parts.
That demonstrates absolute autonomy. He's leveraging his brand not just for a bigger paycheck, but to get production control on these massive multi-industry projects. It's a whole new era for what a superstar can be.
So we've charted this incredible strategic course of Dash. From the young man who risked it all on a dream and 50 rupees a day to a global industry leader commanding a 10 billion rupee film. It's a textbook example of professional resilience.
Absolutely. The narrative is really about meticulous market strategy. The ability to make those smart pivots like shifting from village roles to capture the urban youth with Googly. That's what gave him regional dominance.
And then he leveraged that regional power into something unprecedented with KGF.
Exactly. He defied the historical limits of his own industry.
Yeah.
And the awards, the Filmfare Awards, the CIMA Awards, they're just hard evidence of his skill and his unparalleled star power today.
So what does this all mean for the bigger picture? Here's the final thought for you to chew on. Given that Yash isn't just starring in his next projects, but he's actively co-writing and co-producing them, Toxic, the massive Ramayana, how will this shift towards creative control change the entire scale of Indian cinema over the next 5 years? Will we see a whole new generation of stars follow his lead, bypassing the traditional studios to secure total ownership over the content and the spectacle itself? That might be the true legacy of the rocking star.